Welcome to the A to G podcast. I'm Jacob.
And I'm Darren.
And we got a fun-filled show for you guys today. We have a Game of Thrones review of the latest episode. We have a special music featured today with the artist on the show. We're going to have to stay and find out who that is and what that's all about. We have a top 5. We have some Lions info we're going to get into, some after draft information, and garbage person of the week.
Jake's
we'll get to all that.
Jake's favorite.
I know. But we're going to start off with Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, huge episode. Episode 3, just huge. Just premiered on Sunday. I was pretty much on a social media ban until Tuesday when I can actually watch it. But right. I have watched it. It did not disappoint. So from the Battle of Winterfell, our favorite Game of Thrones guru, historian, whatever you want to call her, is here on the ADG podcast. She has survived the Battle at Winterfell. Miss Alicia has joined us on the ADG podcast. Welcome, Alicia.
Hello. I just barely survived.
Survived.
As I think most people felt after that episode. But at least I got to watch it live. I wasn't dodging spoilers like I am with Endgame. And I know that right after it was done, I messaged Darren.
Yes. Never ever do that unless I let you know that I'm watching it, because she sends me a message that she says, "What the F?"
Yeah, but you sent me a message after you watched it, so
how does that go? Okay, I'm sorry. I watched it on Tuesday. I'm just assuming that you have watched it by then, Jake.
I watched it on Sunday, okay?
Okay, well, so there you go. No, I was completely, you know what? I and this, nothing against the Game of Thrones episode. I thought it was great. I just thought it didn't really make me go wow, because I don't know if I was still on because listen, hear me out. I was still on an Endgame high.
I have heard that. I have heard that.
And the expectations did not really do it for me. Don't get me wrong. Great episode. Awesome cliffhanger. Great action from what I could see, because it was dark 90% of the episode. Which
1080p, buddy. It'll be just fine.
I have 1080p. It was still kind of blocky and blotchy here in some parts, but other than that, I thought it was great. I was completely wrong on how many people, which I thought were gonna die, didn't die.
Vastly under or overestimated the amount of people that were going to die.
Exactly.
But the people. It was kind of like the people that did die. I've known they were going to die for so long that I wasn't that emotional. The only one that really got me was poor little Lady Lyanna when she died. That killed me. Everybody else.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Hey, if you haven't seen it by now,
it's too late.
It's your own fault.
It's your own fault.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Like when I saw her charging at the giant White Walker, I'm like, oh, this is going to be awesome.
She got the job done, though. She got the job done.
Hey, she went out on her own terms. Because I did see they have a behind the scene little video after every episode, and the creator said she was only supposed to be a one scene actor, but the response was so huge for her that they wrote more stuff for her, and they wanted to give her a great ending scene in Game of Thrones, which I thought was great.
Yes, it was great. It was she went out a good way. There wasn't really anybody else that surprised me. I knew going in the Jorah was going to die. I knew Theon was going to die.
Yeah,
I've never liked Theon, so I really wasn't that torn up about it. He's never been on my list. I've never liked him.
No, exactly. I'm sure he's not he's not favorites of many people, but I think he did serve his purpose, and he died with a clear conscience, and even Bran saying you're a good man. You've came back and you're doing the right thing. So
yeah.
So you got to give him kudos for that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good death, I guess. And Jor went out defending his queen like I knew
Of
he always
course.
would.
Yeah.
That one did hurt, but I knew that one was coming.
Yeah, that's kind of noticeable that was going to happen. There was only one way for him to die, and that was to defend his queen.
Yeah.
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 So a lot of like you said, a lot of people that you were expecting to die didn't die. So now what's left? Obviously, whoever's left, still a lot of key characters are still left in the Game of Thrones. Now they march towards King's Landing to take on the Queen, the soon to be Mad Queen Cersei. So do you see? I've seen reports that Emilia Clarke, who plays Daenerys, said that episode 5 is gonna blow everyone away. So
Yes. So episode 5 is directed by the same guy that directed this episode. He also did Battle of the Bastards and Hard Home, so he's their big battle guy.
Right.
He's the battle director. So obviously 5 is going to be another big battle. I'm not going to lie. I threw every prediction I had out the window after this episode. I was like, I have no idea what's going on. And I've been online, like looking for theories, and I don't go on Reddit often, but I've been on Reddit looking for theories, and everybody's still too busy bitching about this episode. So
well, like, what is the biggest thing that people are bitching about?
the fact that Arya is the one that killed the Night King.
I thought that was awesome.
They think I've seen a lot of stuff online about how she didn't deserve it, and it was supposed to be Jon, and it needed to be Jon, and it being Arya is just out of nowhere. And I don't like. I think it was awesome. I think that it really is the culmination of everything about her story,
all her training and all that she did to get that done.
All the training led up to that moment where she snuck past a horde of White Walkers and jumped the Night King. There's nobody else alive who could do that. So
it would have been too obvious if Jon Snow did it.
Yeah.
And plus, it made us sit at the edge of our seats. I was sitting there for an hour and 20 minutes at the edge of my couch, like, what the hell's going to happen now?
So was I.
I was gonna say John's a little busy with a White Walker dragon, so
yes,
I don't see him either killing a full dragon. I'm sorry, and there's no chance of that. But like you said, like it was a perfect arc for Arya, to make her story complete. Obviously, her relationship with the Red Woman, and the Red Woman pretty much telling her, like, this is your reason for living, and that was the reason for her to come back and to give her that final message before she finally vanishes.
That's why she was there. That's why they brought Beric Dondarrion back so many times, apparently, so he could save Arya at the end so that she could kill the Night King. And I mean, I think it was awesome. It seems to be very divisive online, but I think it was awesome. I actually guessed that she might try. When she asked for the specially made weapon from Gendry, I was like, my husband and I were like, I think she's going to try to kill the Night King, but I didn't think she would succeed.
She was badass. It
was amazing.
Everyone out with that.
I screamed when she jumped. I screamed so loud because it happened so fast that it's like he's reaching for the sword.
Yeah.
And then he turns around.
Yeah.
So basically, for most of that it was a good minute that I thought that he had stabbed her.
Right.
Like, I thought she was dead because, like, he goes for the sword and then he turns around and she drops the knife and then stabs him, and then they both fall. So I thought he stabbed her. So she took out the Night King, but she's gonna die. And I was like, no. And then when I saw her standing, I realized that she was okay. But there was a good minute where I was convinced that she was dead, and not that wouldn't have been a great death, but I'm glad that she lived through it. Obviously, she's my favorite character. So
exactly. And I want to say, like, what was your biggest obviously, aside from Arya killing the Night King, what was your biggest surprise in the episode?
It was actually that Melisandre came back. I wasn't expecting that at all. I didn't see that one coming. It makes sense, like when she showed up and she told Arya, like she gave Arya her message. It made sense that she came back, but when she came riding out, I was like, what is she doing here? She can't do anything. And then she lit up the Dothraki swords, and I was like, oh, that's really, really cool. That's a really cinematic moment. It's not going to do much. It's not going to do anything, but it looks really cool.
Yeah, it kind of makes you wonder, like in the first 10 minutes, and the White Walkers pretty much dismantled the entire Dothraki army.
Yeah, they build you up, and then they're like, "Oh, look at these fiery swords," and it's like, "Oh, nope, dead."
And then, of course, Dany starts losing her shit. It's like, "Oh, I gotta get on my dragons. I gotta do something." And Jon's telling her, like, "No, we gotta stick to the plan." Obviously, their plan did not work. I don't know. I don't know who was the general to come up with that battle plan, but it was not a good.
Well, don't
good
fight
plan
something
at all.
you can't see, for one, because you're fighting in the darkness. You can't see what's coming. Like, really?
Yeah, but like other things, like all the armies that they should have had them spread out further, instead of like trying to, because when they all came in a horde, it was they were just pushing them back as far as all.
I mean, I think that they knew that somebody had to kill the Night King, that they could not defeat. They knew they couldn't defeat the army. So they knew that they basically had, I think they kind of knew that they basically had to hold the army back long enough for somebody to get to him, which is going to be really, really difficult. And, they knew that he was going to go for Bran, but everybody's like, well, why did they send the army out like that? And I was like, it doesn't matter if you send the Dothraki out, or if the White Army had come towards them. The first line was going to die no matter what you did. Because it's an army you can't defeat. And they weren't, like, really, until Arya killed the Night King. It was not looking good. It was really, really, I was convinced they were going to lose. I was like,
no, exactly. You hit it right on. And another thing, like, where did Arya jump from? She came out of nowhere.
I don't know. She really got. I don't know.
No idea.
Because
she's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Because if you watch, there's this moment as the Night King is walking up to Bran, and then it kind of pans back to the White Walkers, and all you see is the hair on one of them fluttering, and that's Arya running by, but you don't see her. So she literally did just run through them and jump, and it's, I mean, like, it is amazing.
True.
But before that happened, I was like, he's gonna kill Bran, and then because that's what he wants, he's gonna leave. And that's going to be how the few who do survive. That's what I thought was going to happen until she jumped out. I was like, everybody's dead. This is so bad.
No, absolutely. Especially when it comes to the point where Bran wogs himself into the three-eyed raven, or a raven, I should say, and and goes looking for the Night King to see where he is, and then he comes back. But so I think his story obviously has to continue to the second last episode of Game of Thrones, or who knows, maybe he makes it all the way to the end. There's still a couple episodes left to find out. We did see a running direwolf in this episode.
We did see ghosts.
Big fan of that. Now the question is, we didn't see if he survived or not, but do you think that he's still around?
He did. There's a picture. They released 4 promo pictures of the next episode, and one of them shows shows everybody, and Ghost is in there. It's they're conducting the funerals for those that died, and so he is there. He did make it, which is good. I'm happy that Ghost made it. I was confused that he was charging with Jorah and he wasn't with Jon. I think he's jealous. He's like, oh, well, he's got a new pet now. He doesn't need me. Like, it's like he's jealous of Rhaegal,
Yeah, but
Viserion,
exactly,
whichever
exactly.
one wasn't the undead dragon.
Jake, I don't know if you can concur with me, but my favorite part is when John is like running after the Night King, and he gets into Winterfell inside the walls, and he looks around, and he sees all these people are battling these White Walkers. Even Sam is just kicking ass, and
Right.
Sam doesn't kick ass, just plain and simple. So everyone goes to that extra level and just
Right. It's all
defending.
your favorite characters too, right?
Exactly.
And they're
Yeah.
all just on the old little hills and just like mowing down the undead. So
As much as they can.
as
No,
much as they can. It's pretty
me
good.
that was one of my favorite parts, to see
Yeah.
all these people setting aside their differences and just working together, which is great. So obviously that was episode 3. 3 episodes left in this series. I got a feeling, obviously, from what Emilia Clarke said, that episode 5 is going to be huge. It's going to be another big episode that episode 3 was. So I think that this week you'll see another setup episode. They bury the dead of all those who lost their lives in the battle of for Winterfell. Sets up episode 5, and then whatever the aftermath is will be the finale.
Mm-hmm.
So Alicia, just give me your final thoughts on the episode and what you think is going to happen. Like, give us like one key event that most likely is going to happen.
I don't know. I
You're supposed to be
have.
our insider. Come on.
I know, but just so
I get shot in the dark.
Yeah.
So the most concrete theory that I have right now,
Yeah.
is that Cersei will either have Tyrion murdered or he will be executed for killing their father, and that is what pushes Jaime to kill her.
Really?
Because that's I just the thing is that it's predictable, and everybody, the cast keeps saying that the ending is not predictable, but that's the one thing that it's so just the same way that Arya's storyline was leading up to the Night King, and Theon's storyline was redemption. It just seems like Jaime's storyline is leading to him killing Cersei. That would be the fulfillment of his storyline.
Right.
So I feel like that's what's going to happen, and I do kind of think that it might be Tyrion's death that causes it. I'm not sure. I think I said it the last time I was on that I knew that Tyrion wasn't going to make it. He was one of those characters that I definitely knew wasn't.
He's still alive. He's still alive.
But I knew that he wasn't. I knew that he was going to die at the end. I said he'll die in 5 or 6. He'll make it all the way till the end, and you think he's safe, and then he's going to die. It's just the kind of character he is. He's that character that's going to die, and it's going to hurt. It's going to really hurt. So,
well, we're going to find out in the next couple episodes.
That's right.
Maybe or maybe it won't happen.
And
Who knows? We can't predict
wrong.
right now.
I have no idea right now. My theories are that's the best I have. So I have no idea.
Now we're on record. Now we'll see. We'll find out.
We'll see what happens. Obviously, everyone's Game of Thrones Deadpool is completely shot since this last episode. But Tyrion, I think he's gonna weasel his way in. I just got a feeling that he's gonna end up being there at the end for some reason.
Great.
That'd be great.
I'd love it. I just don't think it's gonna happen.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But that was great. Big shout out to Alicia for joining us on the ADG podcast. She will be back next week with what happens on this week's episode of Game of Thrones, which will be episode 4. So we can't wait to have you back there. So thanks a lot, Alicia.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so it's time for the ADG Sports recap / review. Obviously, local teams have been pretty quiet ever since the Leafs went out in the playoffs. They lost in 7 games to Boston for the 2nd straight year. That kind of sucked. So we don't need to talk about any more hockey for a while.
Nope. Nobody else matters, right there.
Not to me. That's me. I don't care who. I don't care who's still playing. They're not my
That's
team.
okay.
I don't
I don't
care.
like hockey that much. I'm
There
good
you
with that.
go. So me and Jake
Next.
are on the same page.
We're
for
out.
once when it comes to hockey. Basketball. I guess we can talk about the Pistons getting
God.
swept.
Do we have to?
Did we talk about them last episode?
You know what?
Them getting swept?
We'll just skip it. They're shit. Next.
They're shit. They're obviously shit. Baseball. Tigers are being Tigers, and
Okay.
they play baseball.
Average.
That's about it.
That's okay.
But Jake, let's get down to the meat and potatoes. What we really want to talk about was the NFL draft that happened this past weekend in Nashville, and the Lions. They went full Lions again.
Now, exactly. What did we say last episode when we had our
Sean
special Sean Belegian on, our special guest?
Yeah.
What did we say? We don't want everybody do not pick what a tied fucking end.
Yeah.
Titans.
Yeah.
What did the Detroit Football Lions do with their first round pick?
Eighth overall.
Tight end. Iowa. TJ Hawkins.
TJ Hawkins. Kidding me? Jake was so pissed, and I just
no. You know what? I'm not even that pissed about that pick, because if they're gonna do something stupid, at least they picked a good player. You know, shit position. We don't need it. Position of not position of need that much.
I can see the reason why they took it, because you know what? In all honesty, if Josh Allen, the defensive end from Kentucky, slipped all the way to 7 before Jacksonville took him, if he was still around, they would have definitely took Josh Allen.
I hope they're that smart, but I don't know, because I question their tight end choice at pick number 8.
Mm-hmm.
Very questionable. Good player. I don't know if we need him. But what makes it worse, what makes it all worse, is in round 2.
Oh, yes.
43rd overall.
Yeah.
Who? Linebacker? Who?
From Hawaii.
Somebody from Hawaii?
Yeah.
A 5th or 6th round prospect picked 2nd?
Yeah.
Are you fucking high? I mean, I'm eating my fucking microphone. Are you high? What is wrong with this team?
Now,
unless this guy magically appears to tackle everybody running through the D line.
Right.
No. What?
Yeah.
What happened to all the defensive ends that slipped down, cornerbacks that slipped down into that spot? What happened?
You know what, and this is what Bob Quinn does. You really can't evaluate him on one pick in one round. You got to look at the entire draft class. Obviously, he had a lot of first questionable picks in the last year's draft, taking Tracy Walker and other players like that. And I think we all said, who the fuck is Tracy Walker? He turns out to be pretty good. He came in and played he played very well when Glover Quinn got injured last season. And I like that pick. Now, I don't know too much about this linebacker out of Hawaii. There was very little information, very little tape on this guy.
Nobody knows.
But obviously they know something, because there were reports that if the Lions didn't take him, I think 4 or 5 picks down from them, the New England Patriots were jumping all over this.
Thank you for telling me that, because this is a rumor going around that this was bait. That our general manager is so into Patriots way. His boss at his old job gave him a little tip. You know what? We're thinking of taking this guy.
You know what? I got to disagree with you. I don't think that they were going to say hey, yeah.
Look at the draft. Look at the draft Patriots had. Look at the draft.
Yeah.
Filled every single need.
Yeah.
That team filled every single need they had, except tight end for some strange reason.
Mm-hmm.
But they just draft well.
But okay, so obviously we don't like the second round pick, but hopefully we're both wrong. So Jake, what did they do in the 3rd round?
3rd round, defensive back, Will Harris. Boston
I like
College.
that pick.
I'm good with every pick after that, all the way to round 7.
Yeah.
Okay? Because here comes my problem. Because if we're going to pick a tight end in the 1st round, why the hell we pick a decent tight end in round 7? That seems to be a steal. Hey, you know what? Even going past that into the
Right.
undrafted free agents, three
Yeah.
more damn tight ends.
Yep.
Two of them pretty decent,
This
6'6",
th-
6'7".
this team loves its tight ends, and I can see the new Bevel's new offensive coordinator really making this offense an identical replica of the Seattle offense from a couple years ago that won the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Run heavy offense,
Yep.
use double tight ends, throw the ball 14 to 15 times a game.
Right. But you know what the
Really,
difference
really
is?
clock management. Yeah.
You know what the difference is?
Hmm.
They had a defense. We
Exactly.
have four guys. We have four good players on the other side of the ball.
No, you know
Four.
what? And you know what? I like the prospects on defense this year, and I think with the guys coming back for another year, Deshaun Hand, I think he's going to take a really incredible step up. And plus, you have a full year of Snacks Harrison being in the lineup.
I'm gonna poo-poo on everything that we just talked about because every single sports network out there predicting Lions won't make it past 6 wins.
Sure.
ESPN just came out today. The Lions aren't gonna go above 4 wins this year.
You know what?
Four,
And
four. You know what
yeah,
that means? They
mm,
shit on by every single team that
sure.
comes in.
And that's what the Lions do. They never get any respect, and you know that being a Lions fan.
Oh,
I
I
know
know.
that.
This time they might be right though,
But
because everybody
hey,
improved. Lions got average.
yeah, hey, if they're right, they're right. But you know what? That's why they played the game. And until training camp starts and they play some meaningful scrimmage games and see how this offense works, because the way that they were talking last year, that Lions can win 9, 10 games, and look how they started. They started great on the first play. They picked off for pick six, and then what they do for the rest of the game, they fucking shit the bed.
Yeah,
Matthew Stafford was not himself, and I think they're really putting all this money into the defense and offensive weapon, not weapons, but protecting Matthew Stafford so he doesn't have to do everything.
yeah.
You can
I
hand the
know.
ball off to a carry on 20 times if you want. You have two
Sure.
you have two good capable tight ends to check down to. So I think it it's a lot less Matthew Stafford's team now and more Matt Patricia's team.
Exactly. He's being babysat. They're asking him to do a lot less with what he's given. The only problem
Exactly.
with that, one, he has to execute. Two, you have to have a defense to back you up. And I'm a
Yep.
defensive scheme kind of guy because
Mhm.
the guys comparing them to the Seahawks that won the Super Bowl is that defense was relentless. They went after you. They rotated and they still went after you.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? The guys filled the gaps. It was they wouldn't give you a minute to breathe. But but you're right. The games have to be played, and that's why this is the last episode we're gonna do anything Lions for a while.
Until
Because
unless they have some major breaking news
yeah,
or
major break. I don't think
yeah.
so.
Well, you never know because no one expected the Bears to be anything, and then they made that trade for Khalil Mack, and then they're like, oh, look at the Bears, but people still, yeah, but you still got Mitchell Trubisky. He had a great year, and they won the NFC North.
Well, if the
So
Lions sign Khalil Mack, then we'll be on the show and
it,
talking strictly Lions again.
exactly. Well, but you know what? I kind of like what they're doing, especially that the players are buying into Matt Patricia's way of coaching. And I think because you really saw last year towards the end of the season, their defense really come on strong, and their defense was ranked 10th. So it's not a shitty defense; it's a top 10 D. So if you want that, I think a couple more pieces, couple more of Patricia's like-minded players, and I think this is going to be a fast, hard-hitting defense, Jake.
Now, you and I both have them at 9-7, even
Yeah,
though this year's schedule is way harder than last year's schedule. We
sure.
have maybe a 3 week team, really weak teams that we expect them to win against. Everything else is going to be a battle.
Yep.
I'm still sticking to 9-7 because I'm a slappy,
You know what?
but
And you know
it's
what?
going to be tough.
I, I really like to get a good evaluation of the team after the third preseason game, just to really see how well if the team is gelling in those first couple games. Then you'll really see what happens, because last preseason they weren't gelling at all.
No, it was
Now
awful.
it was awful,
It was awful.
and totally we understand. New coach, new system, new culture, new mindset comes into play. But this one now, you know what is expected of you. You know what plays you're going to be running. You know, the offense. I think the offense is going to take a lot more time to develop than the defense. I think the defense early on in the season is the Lions' only chance for them to stay in games.
Well, we'll find out.
Yep,
we'll find out. We got lots of time until preseason, a few months. We'll be ready for it.
Exactly.
We'll see what happens before then.
Yes, plenty of time to lather on the Honolulu blue and silver butter.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Save our comments for then.
before we can have our overreaction podcast.
It's gonna happen.
Of the NFL season.
Yeah. Oh, the Lions got destroyed by another rookie quarterback. First game of the season.
So just one last question for me. Yeah. So obviously you're not a fan of this draft class. What was the one draft player, that you like? Oh, I like that pick. I think that's good for them.
No, I think any pick from round 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all of those picks were great. Amani, cornerback from Penn State.
Yes, Penn State, great
choice. Like, I love it. Like, awesome. That's what we need. But imagine if we had Greedy Williams from the second round instead of the linebacker.
Everyone thought, Greedy Williams, but
he dropped.
There's a reason why he didn't pick, and he dropped, because he's not a physical corner. He doesn't like to hit people.
He's 6'2". He needs his hands to stop the ball going into the other person's hands. Right. That's what we need. He doesn't have the explosive speed, but these are rookies. You give them a chance. How rarely do you find a 6'2" corner? Kind of rare. So they're usually around 6 feet. So that's it was a good opportunity. And again, I have zero faith in the second round pick. First round picks, but everything else after that, I'm really good with. Like, it's not bad. I give him a B for that.
Jake, let me ask you this: would you take the second round pick of this year? What's his name? Tavani, I think is his last name. Sure. Tavani, or would you take Tease Tabor?
I don't like that question, because Tease Tabor is slow and awful. I haven't seen this kid play. I'm just like the NFL Network. I have zero tape on this linebacker from Hawaii, so I can't tell you.
Exactly. So
Lions pick is a linebacker from Hawaii. Who is this kid? Nobody has any tape on him. We can't even show him. Here's his face.
But you know what? Here's my early season post-draft prediction for Lions. TJ Hawkinson is going to be an absolute stud for the Lions. A stud. He's not going to be Gronkowski. He's not going to be Gronkowski, breaking all these huge tackles, but in the run game, stud. Blocking game, stud.
He has to.
Short,
he has no
short
choice.
Yard receiving a game, stud. I have a feeling all about it.
He's going to get really bad treatment from the fans if he's not anything but great.
Hey,
he's going to get the Eric Ebron treatment if he doesn't.
No, he's not. You know what? And I'm sick and tired of people comparing this to
He's
Ebron.
not comparing. He's going to get the same treatment if he doesn't, if he doesn't perform. He's going to get the same treatment. He drops the first pass he drops, he's going to get booed. Watch. It won't be me booing him.
You know what?
Half that state.
I don't think that's going to be the issue, because this Hawkinson looks like a smart kid that knows when to play football, and he knows when to stay off social media. That's what all Eric Ebron did, was just a big social media troll.
I did invite all of our 3 people in the audience. I did invite Eric Ebron to come on the show.
Oh, so there you go.
This week.
We want to give him a fair chance.
He has a big mouth talking about this draft and this our first round draft pick, which again, not a fan of the pick, but it's a great player. So for somebody like Ebron to get on social media and poke fun, I'm like, hey, we have a mic, you have a mic, bring it. And he hasn't responded. Right. We're here. AG Podcast calls out Eric Ebron.
That's right. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
So
there's our Lions take right there.
so we're somewhat bitter. I'm more positive than Jake is, but we'll see how long I last.
I'm disappointed 1 and 2, but after that I'm a B. I give him a B.
Yeah. But we'll see what happens. Obviously, speaking of Lions, Jake, I think it's time for our top 5 list.
All right, top 5.
Going crazy. Top 5, no debating. Top 5, top 5, top 5.
It's in this week's top 5 list. It is Lions related, and
Damn.
and it's Lions draft related.
Oh,
and so
God.
I thought of this top 5 today that it would be perfect for.
Now I'm really excited.
Perfect for Jake, because if there's one thing about Jake that I know is that he loves going in the past and talking about former Lions draft bust.
Yep.
So I compiled a list of my top 5 Lions draft bust. So
Awesome.
we can start with
number 5,
which we're going back a little ways, Jake, and I know you're a fan of the old school. So we're going to go with the talented.
Oh, man.
Back in the 1990 NFL draft, your Detroit Lions selected 7th overall quarterback Andre Ware.
Andre Ware. Okay.
Yes.
And how much did he accomplish in Detroit uniform?
0. But coming out of college, he was a Heisman Trophy winner from Houston and was supposed to be the perfect quarterback for the Lions' run and shoot offense. But in 4 seasons with the Lions, Ware just started 6 out of the 14 games he played, throwing 5 touchdown passes and 8 interceptions.
Sounds like a Michigan September Heisman.
Exactly. He did appear in 2 playoff games in 1991, mopping up a win over Dallas in a blowout. Over Dallas, and he was there in a mop-up role in a blowout loss to Washington in the NFC Championship game. So there's Andre Ware, your
lovely
number 5 draft bust.
Yay.
Moving on to a couple years later, Lions took another quarterback.
Oh, so there's a trend here.
Yeah. Well, just for these first 2, that if it was another great first round pick. This time it was 3rd overall by then general manager Matt Millen, and we all know how much
he's an awesome guy, right?
He's an awesome guy. At number 4, it's Joey Harrington.
I have that jersey.
Joey Blue Sky. I have his jersey too. I haven't wore it in over 10 years. Yeah. And it's still too big on me. So Harrington was supposed to be another quarterback of the future.
Yes.
And obviously that didn't work out. He started 55 out of 58 games for the Lions in 4 seasons, where he had an 18-37 record. Yeah.
That sounds like a good record for a Detroit Lion.
So he was there till about his best season came in 2004 when Harrington when Harrington completed 56% of his passes for over 3,000 yards and 19 touchdowns. He was then traded to Miami after the 2005 season.
Lovely.
So that's number 4. Number 3, before Harrington, there was a stud of a wide receiver that came not too far from Detroit. It was Michigan State's own wide receiver, Charles Rogers. He was a first-round pick. He was a 2nd overall pick in that draft. And another gem by Matt Millen.
Mm-hmm.
He comes in.
The scouting department's amazing.
His first game, he torched it up. He was the next biggest thing. I believe he caught 2 touchdowns against Arizona in his first regular season game. Everyone was loving it. People thought, "Oh my God, we found our next great wide receiver," until he broke his collarbone. And then he just ended up his rookie season with just 22 catches and 5 touchdowns. So before his season was over. So, but after the Lions, that's when the real trouble for Rodgers began. He had tryouts with New England, Tampa, Miami, but nobody wanted to sign him. And so then he got in some trouble with the law, and especially with any battle substance abuse problems. And so he spent a lot of time in rehab centers. So his playing days are done. So yes, but there was
the
a
Matt
time
Millen
where
era.
Charles Roger was the man. But
Oh man,
he was so at number 2. You'll like this on the defensive
Nope.
side. In the second round, 37th overall in 2004, your Detroit Lions took linebacker Teddy Lehman. Teddy the Thrill Lehman.
Oh God, who remembers that?
That's why I'm on here to remind all our listeners that he was taken 37th overall. He was just horrible. All right, so that was number 2, and number 1.
Can't wait.
Are you ready for this?
I'm holding on to my chair.
Number 1 is another wide receiver. Since the Lions had so good luck with that, and I think we were talking about how they always take tight ends. Back then, they always took wide receivers year after year. In the first round, 10th overall in 2005, the Lions took wide receiver Mike Williams out of USC.
How did that work out?
Yeah, that didn't work out very well.
No, it did not.
So after sitting out a season when he declared for the NFL draft, then he sought to return to USC before being declared ineligible. Williams was overweight when he reported to training camp with the Lions and never lived up to his All-American status with the Trojan. He started just 6 out of 22 games during 2 seasons with the Lions, catching 37 passes and 2 touchdowns before being traded to Oakland on the first day of the 2007 draft.
Awesome.
So there is your top 5 of Detroit Lions draft bust.
That made me so sad.
It's so sad how they could
keep doing things
all
like that.
These bad players, but that's the hindsight's 2020, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's your top 5, Jake.
There we go. All right, Darren. So we're gonna start with our music feature for today, and I think we're getting good response on our music features because we're doing what we're doing tonight is bring in the artist directly onto the A2G podcast.
Exactly. It's great to actually hear from the artists who are writing these songs, and we have a bunch of talented singer-songwriters that are gracious enough to give us their music to share with our listeners.
Exactly, because you don't want to hear me talk about some artist and and then playing their awesome music, because I already sound like crap. So let's just have them tell us exactly what's going on tonight. It's a special episode. We told you this from the beginning. We have a special interview for everybody. Tonight, joining us directly from New York is Lillimure. Welcome to the A2G podcast. How are you tonight?
Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you for joining us on this show tonight, on this Thursday. Very rainy, nasty, gross Thursday where we're coming from right now.
Yeah, here too.
It's disgusting out there, but we have your music, and for what our listeners don't know, and they're gonna find out quite quickly, that you have, and Darren, we talked about this off the air, and Darren is quite smitten with your influences of Amy Winehouse, Norah Jones.
Yeah.
That it's a great sound. So where has that sound come from? Where did you pick up your sound?
Well, I guess by listening to artists, I draw a lot of inspiration from Amy Winehouse and John Mayer and Ed Sheeran. I guess I just have like a wide spectrum of music that I listen to. Joni Mitchell is another artist that I really draw inspiration from. And yeah, I guess I've just taken all the parts of different genres and artists that I like and kind of internalized them and then made it my own.
So when you're coming in to write a song, and I looked on your your information that you do a lot of your own self experiences, your life experience are reflected in your music and in your songs. Like, is it, do you have enough where you can write, 20 songs, no problem, just based on your life experiences? or is it like tougher to really get to the true meaning of a point you want to come across in a song?
Most of my songs, yes. Well, actually, to answer your question, yeah. I guess maybe one situation might happen, but I'll feel about it a certain way while it's still in the present, and then I'll look back on it and feel different about it. So I might get 2 songs out of one situation or 3 songs out of one situation. Yeah.
No, that's good. Now, going off of that a little bit, because life experiences to writing is a big thing. You are really young. You're 19. That's a prime age for writing what you're experiencing. When did you start?
I actually wrote my first song when I was 7 years old, but I don't necessarily consider that my like start. I wrote the first song that I really wanted to record and release at 14.
Nice.
And yeah, ever since I've just been doing that, and it really has been like my favorite outlet.
Now, you mentioned that before, some of the artists that are influenced you. What was the first artist you heard that you knew that, oh my God, he wrote that song or she wrote that song? Who was that first artist, and what made you instantly connect with that artist and his or her music?
It was definitely when I first heard "Give Me Love" by Ed Sheeran. When I was 14, I couldn't, I guess, believe that somebody had written that. And I guess seeing a face with somebody who had written that song like made such an important connection to me. And I just remember like listening to his music when I was younger and being like, I want to make people feel this way with my music. So yeah.
I just wanted to bring up, you're from Westchester, New York. How was it living there? Inspired you to become a singer songwriter?
Well, being the suburbia that's right above New York City is pretty much everything, where everything is happening, and having the space of the suburbia, but still having that fast pace of the city kind of bleeding into it. It has this kind of perfect combination of like, you still have that work ethic and that grind of wanting to keep writing, but you have the scenery and the space to have that creative energy to do so.
Yeah, and you know what? And first time I heard your single, Something, titled Something, I liked it. It was great because I got the MP3 first. So I listened to it. I'm like, okay, we need to have Lillimure on the A2G podcast. And then what was it, last week or the week before, we came out with the live version on the YouTube?
Yes.
Oh man, that's a brilliant idea. Like, what inspired you to go live and make a video out of that?
I've been wanting to make live videos for so long. I mean, what makes me fall in love with artists is when like I can see like them, that I see them performing their own music and that I believe them, because I think what makes me connect to music so much is when I believe an artist. So I wanted to kind of create that for my audience. And it's not the only live video I recorded. I have 2 more coming on the way. So
perfect.
Very excited.
So we're excited too, because I saw it. I'm like, you know what? That's a brilliant idea, because it gives you the song that is really good, that we liked, that you record, but now you're doing it live with the band. And the video is really nicely shot, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, really good job on that. And we're gonna share that on our social media right after we put up the show, so everybody else can see what we saw. And like I said, it's brilliant, great concept, good idea doing that. So what we're gonna do for our ADG audience right now is we're gonna play your track titled Something, the MP3 version, for everybody to hear right now.
I try to seem so untouched by this world, but every crowded and shrouded, words drown on my mouth. But there's nothing I'd rather do. Recently I've seen the masses take a toll on you, and I'm sorry that there wasn't more that I could do. Whoa, I love you. They say everything happens for a reason. I don't know if I believe it, but at least it's something to hold on to. They say everything happens for a reason. I don't know if I believe it, but at least it's something to hold on to. Last night I don't remember what I said, but I know that I meant it. You got a lot on your mind, so do I. You need the space, and I get it. There's a lot I gotta figure out before I know what to do. But I promise, oh I promise to come back to you. They say everything happens for a reason. I don't know if I believe it, but at least it's something to hold on to. And they say everything happens for a reason. I don't know if I believe it, but at least it's something to hold on to. And I know somehow, somewhere I'm preaching something to someone. And if you find the answers, can you share it with the rest of us? I know somehow, somewhere I'm preaching something to someone. And if you find the answers, can you share it with the rest of us? They say everything happens for a reason. I don't know if I believe it, but at least it's something to hold on to. And they say everything happens for a reason. I don't know if I believe it, but at least it's something to hold on to.
All right, so that was Lillimure with the track titled Something. Hope you guys enjoyed that. And if you want to see more, we will share the live version of that awesome video on the ADG Podcast Facebook page, Instagram, and wherever else we can, actually. We'll just keep sharing it, get some views on there, get some likes. So if you guys see it, just be like, yeah, I heard this on the ADG Podcast. It's great, because it is good.
Exactly.
It is good. It's on my playlist right now, because, everybody we bring on the show, it's on the playlist.
Exactly. So Lily, you being only 19, and obviously you are very talented in everything that you do is musically. What did you have any family inspiration when you wanted to become a singer-songwriter, or was this kind of your own little thing that only you can really do?
My family has a lot of artists in them, not necessarily musical artists,
Right.
but my dad loves to paint and to draw, and so does my sister. She's a fashion designer.
Oh, wow.
And so does my mother. They all love drawing. Ironically, I can't draw. But yeah, my love for music, a bunch of different bands, from like the Jackson 5 to Led Zeppelin, to just really opening my mind at a young age and exposing me to all this music. And yeah, and he had my grandpa's guitar. I was never fortunate enough to meet him, but through his guitar, I was able to learn how to play. And so my love of music was born.
Nice.
So you obviously very talented singer-songwriter. You're only 19. So what do you want to accomplish in the next 3 or 4 years?
In the next 3 or 4 years, I guess I just want to keep recording and releasing music and playing live shows, and always just upping my game. Right now, I'm really focusing on putting together a really good group of live musicians, like you saw in the live video of Something. And I really just want to be playing as many shows as I can.
So is there a tour that you're looking to put together this year for 2019?
Not exactly a tour, quote unquote, but I am playing a lot of shows back to back this summer. So kind of.
Yeah. So where are these shows? Just pretty much in the New York area, or are you venturing outside a little bit, maybe?
Yeah, most of them are in New York. I'm actually playing at the Botanical Gardens Uncorked Festival later this month. And then I'll be playing at the Jersey Shore Festival. And then I might actually go to Europe for some shows.
Wow.
Nice.
So far found.
Nice.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Oh, that sounds great, because anytime you go to Europe, that's a totally different fan base, and you never know. You never know. That's great. All right, so besides the track that we heard, Something, what's the next track that's coming out that we will be looking forward to?
The next track is going to be the album, so I'm very excited for that.
And what's the name of that? Can we get a spoiler here?
Yeah, of course. It's a self-titled album, so it's going to be Lillimure.
Nice. Lillimure, self-titled album coming up. Do you have a date for us?
I don't, but
looking
it will be
forward
in
a couple
June.
months?
It will be.
Nice. Awesome.
Lily, just so our fans and listeners know, like where can they find you on social media?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all at Lillimure. So that's LILLIMURE.
Right. And just so, just one thing, the name Lillimure. How did you come up with that?
It's actually a funny story. When Instagram just became a thing, I have these Italian friends who they loved playing with words and stuff. And the word amore, which means love in Italian, they kind of made it into mude. So they would add it at the end of everything. So they would say some like, I don't know, chair mude or like anything like that. So when they referred to me, it would be Lily Mude. So then when Instagram became a thing, I was like, wow, what should I make my name? And they were like, make it Lily Mude. And then that became Lillimure.
That's good. That's very good.
There you go. Our fellow show Italian, Darren, will probably confirm that.
That is true. That means, yeah, exactly. I know with a name like Darren, you don't think Italian right away, but
but
that's
the Carlo kind of gives it away, buddy.
Yeah, the last name is usually a dead giveaway. So no, that's great.
That's a great story.
Yeah, no, I'm always interested to see how bands get their names, or singer-songwriters have certain names for certain songs. Do you find it's more or less difficult to get your name out there nowadays?
I would say, well, I guess I have no reference. I've only been alive for the period of time that I've been alive for.
That is true.
It's been okay. It hasn't been super hard, but it also, I mean, I guess it could be easier, I'm pretty satisfied with the way things are going thus far. But I always strive to improve.
Exactly. No, you said it yourself, because your style is a lot different than what other female artists are doing these days. Do you think that gives you an advantage when it comes to people checking out your music?
To be honest, I really don't know, because it's kind of, we're in a very interesting period of music time where we seem to be kind of changing, I guess, the focus of where pop is headed. Which I do think is kind of being in my favor. I think a lot of people are starting to pay more attention to lyrics and if the artist actually wrote the song. And yeah, people seem to be more interested with more intricate song forms.
Well, I think you're 100% right, because I don't want to see myself in another music video ever again, but I definitely write, and that's definitely what I want to do. And I think the trend is, less Drake and more any other artist that writes their own music.
Right.
Well, you said it yourself. You draw on inspiration from John Mayer and Joni Mitchell and Amy Winehouse, which were all big into writing their own stuff, their own music. That kind of stuff, because I was having a conversation with my friend the other day about him, like, great music that it was obviously a little bit back, like the Eagles, they wrote their own stuff. And today, and I told him, like, you have to listen to these guys, they pretty much paved the way for country music or just songwriting in general. And he says, yeah, but I don't really listen to the lyrics of a song. I just listen to the beat or the melody. And I think that's becoming more and more unrecognized these days, is that kids, millennials aren't really care about what the lyrics are saying. I think they're more interested in a beat.
Yeah, but I think also the counterculture of that is rising as well, in which people actually are really caring about the lyrics and the melody.
Very true. Yep. I agree.
So just one last question for me. Obviously, very talented. Like, would you ever consider doing like America's Got Talent or American Idol or one
The
of those
Voice.
talents, The Voice, those talented shows to further your brand and your career?
Yeah, it's definitely something that I have considered before. The only reason why I guess I haven't is just because I'm nervous, because I'm very, as I said, I love like having all the creative input and all the creative control. And I'm nervous that if I were to, I guess, go far with that, I'm, uh, I don't know how that might be affected.
That's a good concern to have. Actually, that's putting yourself out there is something that everybody has to take seriously because it's a big step.
Yeah,
Independent is one thing, but if you give the more of yourself you give out there, the harder it is to take in. No, it's a good point. Awesome. So let's finish this off. I know you have a website.
I do.
So what is it? We want to hear it.
Yes, it is www.lillimure, so that's LILLIMURE.com.
Brian, we can get all your Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, SoundCloud, YouTube, Spotify links off of that.
Yes.
Perfect.
You can the shows that I'm doing, any new videos I have coming out, any press links, all that stuff you can find on my website.
And you guys can get that off of our page. We'll be sharing all of it.
Thank you.
Our ADG audience will be engaged and watching and sharing. And we appreciate you coming on the ADG podcast with us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
This was good. We love the music, so we love sharing it.
Thank you.
Darren and I really appreciate it. And thanks again for coming on and having a quick convo.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Lily. All the best with your career.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right, so let's do our garbage person of the week. And this week, I was thinking, so with all these cool movies and TV episodes coming out, and I try to stay off the social media. We talked about this because you're like, I want to stay off of social media, and before
it's tough.
People spoil things for me. And we had our Game of Thrones talk today because it's a couple of days after. And we're going to talk about Endgame next week. And I avoided all the Endgame spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of.
Right.
But the day of me watching, which was Monday, Game of Thrones,
mm-hmm.
I was online just scrolling through my Facebook feed. Handful of people spoiling it, throwing up images, memes,
mm-hmm.
commenting. So today's all-encompassing garbage person of the week is everyone who puts up spoilers the day of or the day after special episode like that. We used to do this with Walking Dead when it was actually a good show.
Right.
I was trying to avoid that, and now with Game of Thrones being so big and giant movies like Endgame coming out, why would you go online and spoil something for somebody? Not everybody has time to go see it when things come out, or even if it's on TV, even if it's on late at night on a Sunday. Not everybody gets to see it. Give it a few days. Give it a week before you start posting dumb shit. Not everybody wants to see the end of a show that you've been waiting 8 seasons for. Sit through an hour and 20 minutes to have your ending spoiled for you.
Exactly.
So that's my beef with that. And it was spoiled for me kind of. Somebody revealed who's still at the end and how badass they were. I don't want to know that.
Yeah.
Endgame was spoiled for me kind of because somebody slipped. These people might die. I don't want to know that.
See, and I totally get that, and I didn't see Game of Thrones until Tuesday, so I really had to stay off social media.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, when I would go on occasional Twitter, I think it was Monday night, I figured, like, okay, it must be dying down by now. No, it's like, and no. I slowly had to creep up my news feed, to make sure I'm not going to see anything that I don't like, because a lot of times I had to immediately just remove the app off my phone because because it's everywhere, right?
I know, but I just can't because we do a lot of stuff for the show. I do everything I do online. It's hard because when you're messaging people, things just scroll past and you just notice it. You can't avoid it.
Especially when it comes to the point like I take Avengers Endgame for example. is that
Mhm.
when the directors have to put out a press release saying don't spoil the movie, you know, it's
Right.
got to say something like
Exactly.
just just let people enjoy the movie when they can.
Yeah.
If you like it, great.
Good.
Message your friends privately. There's no need to.
Yeah. Tell them it was awesome. Don't spoil it.
Yeah, just let everyone who has been watching these movies for the past 11 years, see how it ends, in their own eyes.
So let us spoil it next episode.
Yeah, we figured it's 2 weeks, and if you're a diehard Marvel fan,
You would have seen it.
you should have seen it in these
Yeah.
2 weeks, and we'll
Exactly.
we'll tell people next week when they tune in that this is a spoiler episode.
Which we kind of forgot to do for Game of Thrones today. But,
yeah, but if those people are real Game of Thrones fans,
they would have saw it.
They've seen it.
Yeah, exactly.
Either either they DVR'd it or whatever.
Exactly. So there you go. That's my garbage people of the week.
That's the coolest fucking story I've ever heard in my entire life. That's insane. Can I hear it again? Do you have time?
Social media.
Should we? All right. So you can find us everywhere. ADG Podcast.
But not all
Email
social
us.
media is bad. We're
That's
on
right.
social media.
We're on
Check us out on
everywhere.
social media.
Yeah. Hit up that Instagram. Email topics, ideas, news stories you guys want us to talk about. adgpodcast@gmail.com. We check it. We check it during the show. You guys know we record Tuesday or Thursday. Send us whatever you want. We'll talk about it. We're on YouTube. The YouTube channel's bumping up. We have our podcast on there, usually a couple days later after it comes out on iTunes, because we're on there. So yeah, just check us out. Give us some likes. Give us some feedback. That Facebook has a comment section. Throw it up. And a little surprise how we kind of tied that in. If you guys follow our Twitter account, this week I put up a Twitter poll for those who have seen it, because Darren and I have our opinions every week about something, and this week was it was very Lions driven. So we put up a poll. Darren and I were asking, what do you guys think of the draft? What grade would you give the Lions? And this is how we're going to finish our show today. And you guys were very, very vocal in our poll on Twitter. Very. And I'm trying to get to it right now.
Love how prepared Jake is.
No, it's Twitter and podcasting. Okay, so the good thing is everybody who replied to the poll, 35 votes.
Nice.
With 40% of the grade.
Mm-hmm.
The fans of the ADG podcast gave the Lions a C, which is somewhere where I was thinking.
Yeah, it's not terrible. Obviously, they didn't do well enough to give them a B, and it wasn't that bad where they deserve a D. I think a C is right there.
A C is 40%. B, 26% of our voters.
Wow.
20% gave them an A, and only 14% gave them a D. So not bad, but not great.
It's spread out pretty evenly.
Yeah, pretty evenly, except for that 40%.
Yeah, that 40% is pretty. That's I think that's the going rate for Lions draft class this year.
Well, and seasons and players.
Yes, everything.
There you go. So for social media talk, that's the stuff we do. We engage. You guys should engage with what we're doing. Keep us entertained that way too. So for the ADG podcast, I'm Jacob.
And I'm Darren.
And we are ADG.